Hello, welcome and welcome back. This is Jacob, and today we are gonna be, for the fourth time, trying to record this episode and continue the main story narration of Arknights. Yes, I do not joke when I say this sentence at the beginning of this episode. I swear this episode is cursed, and I do not know what else to say about it besides that it's apparently cursed to record for some reason, because since Saturday afternoon when I had time, I was trying to record it. Well, PC decided to restart itself in the middle of the recording, and I obviously lost the entire thing. Sunday afternoon, again sat down to record. Well, the recording software decided to be like, nope, I am not gonna cooperate today with you. And, well, there went another preparation phase plus probably like 45 minutes of recording, and I didn't have time to continue. Monday, pretty much same thing. Except that I did record the entire episode, and then when I was listening back to the episode, there was literally no audio on it for some reason. I swear, this specific episode is a curse. But I had to get this out of my system, pardon. But anyway, in today's episode, two quick things before we get into the recap, and I can tell you to, if you don't want to listen to the recap, to hop forward. Two quick things. Considering in the last episode we had the whole Cachet bit where the scene between Cachet and Tallulah was happening, if you want to have more context and more, a bit, not just context and pre-shadowing for this entire chapter of the story, but also preparations for certain events that might go down in the future, including certain other background informations and big question marks that are being pointed up during it. Do consider still watching, if you haven't already, the watching or reading it yourself, the Darknights memoir episodes, because they do fill in and already showcase or hint at certain elements of this current story, plus they prepare you for certain other events and foreshadow certain other events in the future story to come. But regardless of that, that was point number one. Point number two, today's episode will also feature two battle stages, both who are linked to cutscenes that you can only get and see, which are both short, but you can only get and see if you do these stages in a specific way, or rather fulfill a certain condition, which we will go over once we get to the stages. But yeah, and also as a little bonus, finally, as a final part of this intro, I'm not really gonna recap the entire or clarify the entire Cachet part from last episode in today's recap, specifically because the main story is gonna clarify itself about what happened. So if by any chance you were listening to the last episode and are confused about what the hell Cachet was meaning with what he said to Tallulah, just wait a bit more longer for the story to give you a bit of a more proper explanation to it. But I think it was, to a certain extent, especially if you watch the Darknights memoir story and remember what a certain someone said during it, you might already very well know what is happening and what might even happen. But regardless of that, right now is the time that I tell you, if you want to skip forward directly to the story, hit the timestamp in the comment section below. But in other news, in the last episode, we, in the past timeline, pretty much have witnessed how Tallulah is slowly gathering more and more of the infected out in the tundra, getting more and more of them to her side and forming sort of a small community. At a certain point in time, she does try and reach out to the guerrilla squad that is being led by Patriot himself. But in the mission where she is trying to mingle herself in and open up dialogue with them, she does realize that they are not gonna be... the Patriot squad specifically is not going to be present, but another squad that is working with Patriot will be there. And it is a squad that we very well freaking know from a certain earlier chapter. Speaking of, the Yeti squad. And yes, she does meet Frost Nova. They do have a bit of a heated, frozen argument? How you want to call that? And apparently they're about to clash at the end of that. But regardless of all of that, together with the past timeline, we'll also get a brief, well, not really brief, a very lengthy glimpse at what has transpired at the last time Tallulah met with Cachet. Cause, just as a slight reminder, during this entire chapter so far, almost pretty much every single episode, I think, or scene rather, in the past, on every single stage, has started with Tallulah writing, well, sort of writing a letter to Shen. But every time she would also end with, "It has been this amount of years since the Black Snake." So we get finally a glimpse of what has transpired, and why she's speaking of Cachet as he has, well, departed, that he is dead. Because, yes, as we've seen in the scene, she bloody killed him in his own goddamn throne of a chair, which is quite a scene, being skewered in that chair by his own freaking sword that he gave to Tallulah. Well then, that was a whole thing. But yeah, in the whole conversation between them, they do have sort of a dispute between each other, between their ideals and such. Tallulah reveals that she has followed his plans to make her into his successor, and I want to stress out how different the word successor can be interpreted depending on what the reasoning behind that word is. In this case, they do have a conversation about Tallulah's upbringing, since Cachet literally forcefully took her with him, pretty much kidnapped her, of course. They do talk about certain things about her upbringing, including some kind of art training that Cachet was putting her under, and Tallulah was thinking that Cachet was teaching her how to resist not just his type of art's mental manipulation thing, whatever it is. He does not specify there what it actually is, but it is some kind of mental manipulation, while in reality he was doing something completely else. Hint hint, successor. But at the end of the argument, Tallulah obviously killed his ass right in his little dinky throne chair. But that is where we left the past off. In the present timeline, the Amiya and Rosmonte squads are still advancing onto the central tower in Chernobog as time is ticking down. Chaos is pretty much everywhere. People are just asking for help, reunion or not, it doesn't matter at this point who is who anymore. Everybody at this point just knows that Tallulah is absolutely insane. The Sarkis mercenaries that are working pretty much under Tallulah right now are pretty much just working for her because she's giving them orders to, hey, there is a battlefield, go there. And as they pretty much revel in that stuff, because that's literally what they live for, that is what they're pretty much gonna do. But regardless of everything, the Rosmonte Amiya squads do reach very close to the tower, where they link up with a couple of different teams, and that is a mishmash of people there. We have the Rhode Island squad, we have the Shield Guards, we have a Guard, who is also present, and we have apparently the crossbowmen from Faust's old team, who are all present and are all kinda trying to get to the tower themselves, but they are being blocked off by one particular thing, and that is the fact that the city itself is moving. A massive chunk of the city is essentially rising up in front of them and trying to cut them off from reaching the tower, which they pretty much are left with technically just one option, and it would be just to demolish the entire square in front of them so they could cross, essentially. But Rosmontis, who has been silently and slowly suffering by herself there, pretty much just goes berserk and unleashes all of her art's power and just slices that bulkhead in two, like, holy shit, that little kitten. But yeah, in doing so, she does pretty much not just terrify any passerby or people who haven't ever seen the extent of her power, but she also gains the very big respect of the shield bros. The shield guards do start calling her at least feline, as they are calling Amia Kotas, pretty much signifying that to some extent they have, even though they hate them for killing Patriot, they do have massive respect for the both of them. But that is pretty much where we left off. And one final thing before the bulkhead thing was that the Rosmontis squad, part of the Rosmontis squad that went into the bellows of the city to try and stop the rising of certain parts of the city so they could cross normally, namely into some engineering rooms and control rooms down there, has been ambushed by some unknowns, and apparently one of the members, called Bluish Silver, is no more. But yeah, that is pretty much where we left off. So, like I said, in today's episode we will cover a couple of stages once more, 2 battle stages, and as you can see, these extra scenes are linked to the battle stage themselves. But like I said, we will talk about these when we get to them. For now, let's continue the story, shall we? On stage R8-6, titled War, Sprawling Without Seas. Says here, the mightiest and meekest both share the same tenacity. And as before, we have a Tallulah here, same text as always, the infected warrior Tallulah, she will never look back. Who is present on the field, does her thing. Essentially, you want her to survive for the mission. But yeah, let's begin with the before part. Hyushi. Back when I first became infected, my mind wasn't clear on anything. I knew Gachet wanted to use me to do so much, but I was always afraid. What was it he wanted me to do? Had he planned some kind of trick, one to destroy in a blink of an eye the network of infected I've spent so much time setting up? Or had he planned to let me divide the infected, let them drift into 2 camps, and the Urbanites and the settlers? Or the even more frightening scenario, perhaps he'd planned for the infected to become a new army, and for Ursus to be plunged into war once more? I could only speculate. He hung over my head like a murky spectre, impossible to chase off. But I could only move onward. One of the Yetis, apparently called Petrova, used Sistis milk yesterday to stir-fry oil seeds. A strange recipe for sure. The taste was pretty interesting. Oh, that. I remember that. The time's gone so fast. It's been 2 whole years. And yes, I want to point out here that it's been 2 years, like Alina is saying here, since the meeting between Frostnova and Tallulah. So we have skipped a bit forward in time. Are the stories the fighters passed around then true? You really fought with her. From the sound of it, you both blew the entire city ruins into oblivion. It wasn't that dramatic. Rumors always get more outlandish as time goes on. All I did was melt her originium ice crystals. Shashenka, no running around, you'll slip. Look at them, just free to live. It's so nice. It's a duty of mine. I never imagined you'd volunteer to teach the children. I get along a lot better with the children than I do with Ursus. What was that about melting just now? Frost Nova's originium ice crystals, a sort of arts device her squad used, by my guess. That's something... I'm sure Frost Nova didn't like it. Nope, I took a single breath and she froze half my body. And when I finally snapped out of it, she was already charging me, going for the neck with an ice blade. I blocked it, took in the hissing sound, and this sword tasted frost for the first time in all its years. It was probably the first for her too, meeting someone who could chip her blade. Ah, you're pretty happy to talk about this. Are you proud of it, maybe? Not really. Yeah, maybe you are right. That child, the one hiding behind the wood fence. What's her name? Lyubov. That's enough spying on us, Lyuba. I'll read a story for you all next period. That's right. A story all about an old ghost in the Grey Forest. A scary story. Could you help bring me some wood shavings? Put them in a basket. Thank you. So then... Frostnova. Alina, you know it's Frostnova we're talking about. Her name spread among the casters of the Northwestern Tundra long before mine ever did. I thought you didn't like it when people spoke your name. If anyone ever uses it to threaten, then of course I won't be happy. But if hearing my name makes them want to challenge me, then it's not too shabby. Nothing like you. I don't think Frostnova ever gives challenges the time of day. Thinking about it that way, you really stoked her fire, didn't you? She's the top of the infected casters, the top squad commander, and the strongest of the infected warriors to boot. Don't misunderstand. It's not like that's what I aim for. Plenty of people think you resemble each other in places, though. Some of the children say that they want to be like Frostnova, and some of them say they want to be a hero like you. Time out. Now, that's a word I'm not happy with. How about you, Alina? What do you think? No two people are alike in my eyes. Figured you'd say something like that. Truth be told, I don't really know what Frostnova's life was like as a child. She's been brought up well. It was probably alright. But don't let any child experience the things I did. You've been brought up well, too. I don't want to talk about it. Tallulah, none of us know the bitter things the world has in store for them, nor whether those things will be ever more absurd than what we've already seen. Well, that's depressing. It's also the reason I wanted to be a teacher. My teacher wasn't anything like you, for sure. I get what you mean now. You're saying maybe Frostnova also had, well... Who knows? No two infected live identical lives. Well, to wrap up, I never slacked on practicing technique again after my dispute with Frostnova. Not just arts, my swordsmanship too. Like hell she'll ever beat me again in either. I know you and her fought. What about after that? It took until her anger abated before she told me she wasn't the one responsible. Then that only leaves one person who could have been. You're right on the mark, yes. It wasn't too long after our scuffle finished that out from another end of the city came a person. Is remembering it that much effort? I should say that first impression was too shocking. I'm scrambling to find the words for you. The broad midday light spilled over his body, but couldn't melt away the blackest tar. I was in the middle of telling Frostnova about my project. I gotten up to where I was in contact with infected in other cities. I wanted to assemble the funds to construct or seek out small-scale nomadic city and invite them to join the project. I saw his shadow. I couldn't keep speaking. What stopped you? I'm not that confident in myself. Not that confident? I've never seen you short of confidence before. I mean, this was... Patriot. You couldn't talk him over. I still haven't to this day. You already know all the rest. After Frostnova and I had our friendly discussion, our group successfully joined up with the guerrillas. Good for us. All else aside, after hearing we could go with the guerrillas, plenty of our infected were very happy beyond belief. These last 2 years have been better to us than before. You made a good choice. You're finally in the right, Tallulah. I mean, the only way I see it, the guerrillas definitely didn't care about me or the other infected fighters. They just couldn't ignore the rest of the infected traveling with us. Then that's even less reason to be down about it. You thought the same way, after all. But it's been 2 years. The situation hasn't made any headway at all. Think about it this way, Tallulah. From what moment did you start feeling Patriot didn't approve of you? Over a year ago, not long after we joined up with the guerrillas. All the way up until now. Not happening. We don't even know how many more infected are out there on the tundra under Ursus's wretched rule. It's too early yet to be talking with the guerrillas about the infected in the cities. We're not intended to abandon the tundra's infected. Why would I have brought them with me otherwise? Sooner or later will come the day we return. Our objective is to have the entire world's infected come together. We may be in different places, but our lack of resignation to our circumstances is one and the same, indistinguishable. A friend of mine in a certain city calls that kind of behavior reunion. He calls on the infected to come together, naming it the reunion movement, revolving around one identical belief, protesting against Ursus's cruel rule over the infected. And we should get the chance to protest the Ursus soldiers on the tundra about the exploitation in the mines, but I can't say it'll make them turn over a new leaf. Tallulah, forget the common people for a moment. Talk about the soldiers. The Ursus army wouldn't let a single one of us go. If you want to go south to protest, we could just save ourselves the trouble and find a division to kill us. Ursus is not a single-minded entity. This is our chance. What the reunion movement aims to do is pass on the belief, but I see even more opportunities in it. We have our own signal to send. What signal? You are not alone. You know better than I do that staying on the tundra is a life of attrition, eating away at our strength. We need to go beyond it. I don't decide this stuff. You're still not willing to decide it. If the price of leaving is death, then my life never had much use outside of taking down an Ursus soldier or two. But what about the people around us? Tallulah, you haven't got brothers and sisters by your side. I'm not going to let mine throw away their lives. But I think the other part's right. Which part? Telling the infected they're not alone. We've spent too much time on the thing here on the tundra. Seeking friends. But linking up with the city infected. Guess people from the big city really do like to dream a little bigger. I don't need you mocking me yet, Frostnova. I'm not mocking you. You're so strong. You've taken all of them a long, long way, just like us. But it's a dream going south. Trust me. The guerrilla force grows, but we're infected. We don't have many years left, and your alliance would need plenty of years at least. And that's precisely why... Dad? Mr. Patriot?
Patriot sits down by the bonfire, like Tallulah simulated over and over in her mind. Patriot simply sits down, wordless, and gazes into the fire.
You're good. Keep going. I wanna just here interrupt that narration just for a split moment and say there are gonna be many moments during this story where it's gonna be images like these meeting people, and if it was already not painting a picture of it, we're gonna be meeting a lot of people that we have known from the reunion side of the movement. And pictures like these just bring a very weird sense of, I know in the future the majority of these people are gonna do some bad shit, but right now they are not that different. Like it was already said in the story, they are not that different from what Rhode Island is these days. But somewhere along the story, they will trip. Oh boy. Anyway, continuing. It's precisely because we don't have many years left. The South has fields of bumper crops, suitable temperatures, 4 seasons to tell apart, and all sorts of fresh food. Resources, education, prospects, and a future. Future? Frostnova, there's every likelihood I know what you're thinking. What I'm thinking is written on my face. I don't know anything you'd call a future. We may not have much time left at all. There's only so many places it'll let us set foot. But the infected should have a future. For the future infected, for those who come after us. Frostnova will find those infected a home. Somewhere Ursus and the infected patrol unit won't disturb. Somewhere the Ursus armies can't surround. And you know for sure, taking the infected with us would get in the way of the guerrillas' operations, but we won't abandon them. It'll be a seriously difficult path. At the very least, what hopes we bring about before we die can be left to others. And if we overthrow Ursus's present system over the infected, everything will change. We're thin on the ground. If you weren't an infected, would you shake my hand? We'd start from a handshake in that case. What you're saying is probably... Dad, where are you going?
I've had enough.
Sir. Hey, don't mind it too much. He was probably just thinking it over. He's been thinking it over for ages, if so. It's been 2 years, and the only conversations we've ever had have been team composition and following plans. He's never asked me once about anything to do with any project. Tallulah, no matter if he's ridiculing you or opposing you, not that I think he's the type to really ridicule other people, you're still going to wait forever. Am I right or not? If we want to leave the tundra, we need the power of the guerrillas. I'll keep at it. Because he's the hope of the tundra's infected? I thought you didn't say things like that. I mean, you don't say things like that, right? I just want to know what your thought process is like. I think it's because he's the symbol the tundra's infected united behind. A symbol with no way of passing on the next generation. Get up. How long are you planning to stay there? You gave me a chill, you goddamn white rabbit. I don't care how stick-thin you are, don't tell me this cold front's too much for you. You sure weren't saying that when you iced the Ursus weapons. Brothers and sisters, withdraw. Let them follow. Throw out the mine guards. Just hold on until the shield guards can support us. Don't lose hope. Pace. Pick it up. Faster. The guerrillas are in place to get the mine guards double-teamed. How do you figure? Wait. Those strange originium ornaments, did the guerrillas arrange those? Those were set up for my father. The Ursus army isn't pursuing us anymore. Seems like they're really not a fan of what those entail. Wait, are these some kind of circus thing? Hisarka ceremony. These two are the best we could make with what we had on hand. Patriot is here? You said it yourself. You were expecting our team to be surprise attacked. And if we wanted to annihilate their whole company, of course we'd want to come up short if we only relied on our squad. They're already beginning to rout. Have you ever seen my father in battle before, Tallulah?
Him! It's him! Why did none of you say he was here? Retreat! Retreat! Just forget them! Forget them! Wait, hold on. He's coming from the rear. Then what's all of this in front of us? Hello? Hello? Say something. Say something! Until those local troops let loose their violence upon him, the Sarkas would tower over all others makes no move, nor does he make a sound. Yet Tallulah hears, laced through the north wind of the tundra, something not unlike cries. The shudders of the world itself, its wickedness cowering back, step after step before the Wendigo. Patriot stands fast and casts toward the tundra a long halberd. And in the gloom of a sky that knows only to devour all life, suddenly, a chasm is cut. Patriot being Patriot. Anyway, continuing on to the after story.
Thank you for your assistance, mister.
Tallulah, you want to leave the tundra? You will be crushed under the armor of horses.
Dad, why right now? Didn't we already...
The shield guards have already gone to collect resources. Take the squad. Order them all to move.
Alright.
You and your project will get everyone killed. Tallulah realizes this is the first time the giant before her has personally issued his opinion. Even if that opinion is no shock, it still shakes her to the bone.
And the Northwestern Tundra can't keep us alive forever. The larger our group grows, the more food and energy supplies we need, and the villages that revile us far outnumber the ones that support us. One season of Mosoats each year, even if we all pitch in for the tilling, how much would we harvest in the end? Will our fields be destroyed by the pit patrol unit? The guerrillas can easily dispose of them, but the other infected can't.
You are hesitating. Pardon. You are hastening their deaths.
Our only choice is to leave the tundra. Not to Sami and not for the Barrens. We'll head east, head south, head for warmer places.
How will you survive? How will you allow us all, so numerous, to survive? The guerrillas save people. The guerrillas sacrifice not but ourselves. Only warriors sacrifice themselves.
But there are infected in every city and their surroundings. So many more than there are on the tundra. You permanently protect the north, detesting all that the infected of the north endure. And you've had little chance to understand the kind of life the infected of the south have.
Do they live well?
They live miserably.
You want to absorb them.
I intend to unite with them.
When the Empire turns its gaze to the infected, you will bear the brunt.
I don't want them to unite by my side. No, I want them to unite under one encompassing philosophy.
Philosophy? The infected are taken as sawdust on the tundra, as slag in the mines, as warnings in the villages, as unknown fuel in the cities. The tundra infected are certainly not ignorant nor foolish. We do not cradle fantasy. All philosophies are fantasy before they are put into practice. On the tundra, there are still mines, patrol forces, foolish and lackadaisical guards. We have places to obtain our resources.
The resources throughout this icy tundra will sooner or later be exhausted, because we have no method of extracting our own. We have no enduringly mobile nomadic city, no specially qualified catastrophe messengers.
Go to the city and we have nothing at all.
We will earn new friends.
Who are your friends? I recognize your project has merit to it. But at the same time, it is also nothing special. How many strategists have died frustrated on the tundra? You speak of it, and I see no reason it could be done, nor on what it would be realized. Why would the last emperor make the land tremble? Because he held fast to it, never talking of any wild, far-flung vision. He only walked in steps, which you cannot do.
Sir, you say I may be crushed by the armor of Ursus, and I concede that. They will sooner or later turn their attention to us here. They will always come a day when they catch us. None of us can escape it. Let them come. Is that how you approach it, sir? That the tundra would prepare you better for a battle?
You are seeking a new battlefield?
I'm looking for a chance to win. As far as so many more infected are concerned, that's hope. But to fighters like you and me, that's a crossroads. The only crossroads where we can break from our intrinsic strategy. To wander the tundra in the end is still nothing more than a slow death. Much like the little life we have left as infected. I need to repeat this point over and over, because we're all fully aware of it.
Perhaps my daughter is convinced by you, but I will not be convinced by someone who has never lost hope in the truest sense, who has only ever spouted an empty miscellany of armchair strategies.
Taluna, where are you going? I'm fine. Just going to check if there are any survivors in the mines. The guerrillas already set out, and the village is starting to move too. The army isn't following our tracks either. Dad, what's up with you?
Just a normal cough.
A rustling sound. Is somebody there? I know you're all here. You're not with the army. You haven't even broken a twig with your steps. I mean you no harm. If you're not infected, I'll leave you be unless you need assistance. Don't come any closer. Don't move. If you do, I'll shoot. Ah. She's infected. Sasha, my arts can drive infected away. You can't use your arts. Sasha. Get out of here already. We were just getting things from the mines. We don't want to kill anyone. I'll shoot. You'll die. Sasha, when you say that... How long have you gone without eating? Why do you care? We're in the vicinity of a militarized mine. You wouldn't dare light a fire. The way you shake makes me think of wheat being stifled. Don't be scared. Talula grasps a branch with one hand. Softly, gently, she hands this branch to the two children, and within it, small sparks starts to dance out. Ah. You... It's warmer now, isn't it? That's right, I really am infected. So that's how it happened. That's how you found Sasha and Eno. They were never willing to talk about the past. If we never found them, they would have certainly passed away. Perhaps ever since Patriot refuted me, it was the one bit of good. It was the one bit of good I'd done. So what's happened today then? I was careless with my arts during training. Frostnova's cloak was hung up nearby, and they spread to it. Now she's out for my life. And you promised you'd help sew it back up? To tell the truth, Alina. Oh, whatever. Give it to me. Knowing you, I'm scared you'd sew yourself to it. Don't you want to join our group? If we have your gift with words, there's a decently better chance I'll talk to Patriot over. I've told you before, Tallulah, my arts would be useless with the guerrillas. I can stand the blood, but I don't want the initiative to harm people myself. You'll be facing much more than just the infected patrol unit soon enough. I suppose if I had dragged you along, I'd have been bothering you too much. Ah, you put it that way on purpose, didn't you? No, I don't remember wrong now. It was I who wanted to go with you. And up to now, it has been for one reason. It's because, Tallulah, I feel like there's every chance you'd forget. Forget what? Forget just what it is you wanted to do. I've been striving all this time for the future of the infected. That's not what you said back at the very start. Tallulah, we all know people can change. If bit by bit we shake ourselves clean of all the things we've persevered with, or if we replace them with something new, then there's a certain point where we realize we just haven't persevered in anything, right? In a certain battle, and with things changing all the time, it's only natural I'll alter my policy. If rigor sends into our thinking, it could very well make us weaker. And where's that stubborn part of you go? Do you want to prove that the infected are just like normal people? Or do you want to prove that normal people are just like the infected? What's the difference? If there's only infected, then who's even a normal person? Would we want all people to catch a Rypathy? Or to cut themselves off completely from the normal people? But if there were only normal people, no infected, then the people who caught a Rypathy would be normal people underneath. Normal like the people who haven't. Elders are just normal people. Ancients are just normal people. Villagers who all know each other are normal people. And whoever's living in the cities should be normal people all the same. Tallulah, do you want to return to your family? You're all my family. No, we aren't. If we cleared all this Rypathy off our skin, would we be able to go back home? You and I are of a mind on this. We couldn't. The tundra and our lives have completely changed us. The infected already have no way of returning to their former lives. Tallulah, do you feel proud of yourself for being infected now? Why would you ask? Because you can cast arts without a staff? Because our lives are so fleetingly short? Because even though we've gone through so much hardship, we can still persevere and live on? What reason would you choose? I don't need to choose any, Alina. I'm proud just to be an infected, because this world still hasn't killed me yet. And for that matter, we don't need anything to cause us to pursue fairness. We should have been pursuing fairness in the first place, that's why. And if the world won't give it, we'll just have to take it from it. Then you really are brave. You're not laughing at me, are you? Of course not. How could I? Well, I feel they're all brave too. All the people struggling against the fate that's been forced on us. Then I'm sure you feel... Feel what? That our fates are just rotten. Well, obviously. I don't feel that way, Tallulah. That's another of your iconic remarks, Alina. No, what I mean is the fact I can sit here, talking with you, knowing we have our guards outside the village protecting us. Fate has already been very kind to me. Don't say that. Fate's a jealous one. Talking about those things is just tempting it to take them away. But I don't believe in fate, Tallulah. Because you can change it? Because I can't see it. Tallulah, what you can see, what you can touch, those are things you can rely on. I can see the cloak I'm holding in my left hand. I can see the candlelight, and I can see the needle I'm holding in my right. I can see the infected children's smiles, and I can see the white smoke of vegetables roasting fragrantly, wafting through the air. I can see the snow melting, and I can see the two moons dancing spry in the clear night sky. And then there's people who can't see even these. Tallulah, if there came a day when we all left you, would you still be able to fight on? What do you mean? It could always happen. If that time came, would you still feel it was worth it to stand against fate? Would you possibly think this is just too much? I just can't do anything anymore? If Patriots taught me anything, the one lesson comes to mind from long ago at that. I wouldn't bow my head. It sneers at me, and I'll certain to burn it to ash. You're a blockhead, Tallulah. That or you're getting old. Hey! Only old people get to say that stuff without coming off as naive. Because if someone's gotten old as old gets and still keeps that outlook all the way, it just means they've gone through far, far too much, to the point the world's left its bitter vestige on their body allows them no rest in passing the remainder of their life. And they're living in the desert of the past. If it were me, I would have even have the courage to take the first step. If I were that old and had that much arrogance, I'd be taking the events of the past and stabbing myself with them every single step I took. I can't even imagine it, stuck in the sands of memory of all the past. How does a person even know they're still moving forwards? And what kind of resilient spirit does it take to let them make a new first step, unlike they've made before? I feel like you've been hinting at something this entire time. I've said I know a lot of what he's done, but I still truthfully don't know Mr. Patriot at all. I've never spoken a single word to him. If you say that's him, well, why not? Let it be him. If Mr. Patriot... You're fast to substitute. Ahem. Unlike all the old aged warriors, young people can much more easily forget things. Give up on things, forget themselves. So you feel like I'm only fighting for all the things I can see? Or maybe you're telling me that might not be right. Compared to the things you've told me back when we left the village, it's just too shallow. In just these few short years, you've already become an outstanding leader, but it's not entirely a good thing for you. You can't let yourself stop here, can you? If righteousness can only be upheld by greater and greater violence, can it even be called righteous still? Those words have rolled around in my head for years and years now. For so many years, I've been constantly thinking it over. I probably haven't gotten it straight yet, but I've been thinking it over and over. Alright then, let's throw fate and making stands and all those other words we were talking about out the window. What is it you want to teach us today, Professor Alina? Hey, are you that flippant with Frostnova too? Don't joke about that. Frostnova would freeze both of our mouths shut. Taking you for example, Tallulah, you wouldn't fight just to defeat what enemies you see, right? The patrol unit, the mine overseers, the drafted soldiers following our trail, the Ursus Minister of Medicine, if you defeated all of these, would we be victorious? Since all of these are awful things, and so we need to defeat them. Professor Alina wants me to do battle with things I can't see. How would I defeat them then? With things you can promise. Warmth, food, bedding. These are all things you've been able to touch on some day or another. Think things unlike those. This battle of ours probably won't bear results. It's likely we have no way to win. I'm already not that fond of making promises. Things too far away or near are as good as me playing tricks. If we can never win, then should we still fight? Haven't I asked you before? When that time comes, would you still feel this fate is worth you making a stand against it? Once this is all over, you won't even be able to so much as see your enemies. You'll share those enemies with all those people who can't see a future. And then that's when the true battle's really just begun. You mentioned that spirit, those enemies, and those things that carve into ours and the Ursus people's bones. The Emperor? The Emperor's just one form of it. As long as people won't lay down their blades, this conflict will never end. I don't quite agree. People taking up their blades to fend off what causes them strife is the just thing to do. You're not wrong. Honestly, this conflict is the sort that'll never end in my eyes. Thanks to Mr. Patriot's blessing, I've read no small amount of Lathanian and Victoria's books. I very much liked what this one person said. Our war is a war against the ego. It's true, Tallulah, as you'll never lay down the swords in your grips. So you'll never lay down the needle in your grasp. And that wraps up our lesson today. There's almost nothing left I can really teach you. The children should be studying right now. There's some knowledge they should have by tomorrow. Tallulah, Cachet wanted you to be a sage, but people all make mistakes. When you fall over, you climb back up. But if he won't let you fall over, then all you can do is be a little careful about things. Same as when you're confronting Patriot. In all honesty, I don't see him and you as two different kinds of people. You both already believe too strongly in your own ways. I can't let any of those lively little creatures go around saying things like you're right and he's wrong. No, Alina, I can't go and do something I don't even believe in myself. That's true. It's another one of the tricks with which Cachet bound you, exploited you. You're just saying there's no way I can wipe him out, right? It's a sort of idea after all. We probably don't have much chance of wiping out an idea. But I'm still just that bit confident. Confident in what? If we're still by your side, when the time comes, we'll definitely be able to pull you back. It doesn't matter what kind of arts Cachet had, we'll definitely have a way of breaking them down. There's always something we can do. In this battle, we'll start from words and language, start from the next moment, start from a facial expression. We'll start from now. They'll know what mushrooms are safe to eat, how to raise livestock, how to get better at a little sooner if you catch a cold. We'll try and try not to lose. Emma, and I believe in you. You will have the chance to talk Patriot over. I'll just force myself to take that as encouragement. I'm done sewing. You can give it to her. I can tell she really cherishes this cloak. It looks like one the army made, and it's 3 layers inside, 3 layers outside. It makes it seem really big. It probably is an army cloak. That or it's... Out of all the reasons Mr. Patriot keeps fighting, we just might have found one of them. Thank you, Alina. Wait. What is it? I'm about to prepare tomorrow's lesson. It's a drawing lesson, so they're all looking forward to it. I'll bring back 2 brushes for you next time. I mean, What I want to ask is, do you really not want to get to know Frostnova and the others? The fighters all know we have a good few infected teachers. It's just that you've been keeping yourself tucked away all... Not right now, Tallulah. Once that infected common ideal of yours becomes reality, we'll naturally come to know each other. And besides, we're all fighters, just on different battlefields. We'll know all about each other sooner or later, won't we? You're right, Alina. Infected fighter, Alina.
Alright then, and now we move on to the present timeline again, to stage M8-5, Ruination, long awaited. With enough effort, drops of water can pierce through stone. Everything you've experienced will coalesce into the truth and spread across this land. Transmission went through. Captain, do you copy?
I'm here. It's me. What's your status?
Most of us are fine. We've trapped under this building at the moment, but we found an access hatch. We'll regroup with you if you find another exit. We disabled the restart function. Rest assured, we've got a very defensible position. Make your way here, and you won't have to worry about getting caught flat-footed. But bluish silver, she's... No, Rosmontis, wait. Focus on the mission. Don't come for us. You promised us before we set out.
But...
Keep your promise. We wouldn't have followed you into Chernobog without it. Remember our talk when we joined your team? Listen to me, Rosmontis. We talked about how elite operators and their teams are all different. You can do so much. Your arts are so strong. There's not much we can do for you in a fight. But when you can't handle the burden, we'll share it with you. Just like Amiya and the other elite operators.
But you're my team.
Calm down. Bluish Silver's last wish was that we help you grow as a warrior, not a soldier, and not a weapon. Captain, you get your job done. We'll make it out of here safe. Listen, Rosmontis. This might be hard to do, but it's what Bluish Silver wanted. You're not just an elite operator, you're Rosmontis. We all love you, not just your team, but Rhode Island and the infected. Everyone who hates loss and destruction. We all love you. So, Captain, think about what Rosmontis would do, okay? Over and out. Tell Amiya hi for us.
Don't leave me. Please, come back.
We will. They cut the transmission.
What's the situation?
Oh, Amiya, we lost one member of the engineering team, but the rest are safe for now.
Rosmontis, we need a little more firepower. The guerrilla mortar team needs supplies. We'll ambush them. Are you okay? Amiya, after Ace died, what did you think? Oh. You don't have to tell me if you don't want to, but I want to know. Sorry, I don't want to think too much about it. You want to run away too? No, it's just not the time to face up to it. Tears are for the end, when it's all over. I only remember the very end. I was thinking that I don't want to let him or any of our Rhode Island operators die in vain. Good. Recon operator, tell me where. I'm going. Reunion is totally out of control. Watch yourself. Because we're their enemy? Because everything in there is their enemy. Without an enemy to fight, sometimes people make their own.
What are you worried about? Vanguard group, attack. Defender operators cover them. Roger, hold fast. Don't let them cut off the corridor. No further. Too scary. Don't hit. Pain. Pain everywhere.
That's an unpleasant infection symptom.
That's more disturbing than infected mutants in Longmen.
If you want to ask if I worry about Rosmontis, Amia, and their teams, I have to confess there is no use worrying. We settled on the plan, and it all runs on a pre-designed track. If you squeeze onto someone else's rail, you'll just end up derailing two trains.
The herd doesn't look like it's pushing up. Stay focused, we want to pass through, not wipe them out.
Clear them in waves. We don't have the capacity to take on an entire battlefield.
I'm worried about Amia.
Amia is a mature leader and an excellent fighter. She knows the team, the operation, and our objectives.
Isn't it a little cold?
I don't think so. She's through all 7 training segments and passed every test given to her. There were 3 in which she showed particular promise. I have no faith in casters like this. Kal'tsit, I pride myself on my skill with arts, and I hope to help others with it. That's not what Rosmontis is. Her Reginium arts are not those that serve to benefit mankind. I want her to fight, but for one consideration. If Rosmontis spent her whole life in the greenhouse, her outbursts once reality shatters her beautiful world would be catastrophic. If you can't do it, I will. Pith. You and Amia have too much faith in the future. One misstep and someone else's future is gone forever. Before we make a judgment like that, we have to at least try. I'm worried about the future that's beyond saving. For now, I'll have her serve as an elite operator, not in the future, but now. Right now, we teach her, polish her, forge her strength into shape, hold her to the highest standards, and watch her stand firm in the face of a catastrophe. Until there is nothing in the world that can shake her. Only then will she be free of the terrible fate the Colombians set out for her. Only then can she lead her own life. That is my goal. I knew you'd say something like that, kal'tsit. But who's responsible for her? I need you to work with me. I need the elite operators on this together. And I promise you, I stake my life on it. We will see this through. A war cast in warmth and kindness is a much more dangerous form of war. I don't want to speak of such horrible cruelties, even if my fears should never come to pass. Amia and Rosmontis are in the care of Rhode Island herself, and more directly the elite operators who take responsibility for them. Further, they are the core of the squad strategy, Doctor. Trust in them, and you trust in yourself.
Hey, Hawk, did you see that? How could I not? Shh, don't give us away. Then why did you ask me? You're the one making noise. I said shh. I don't want the captain to chew you out. She can't talk. She can't talk. How would I know if she's chewing me out? Or if it's just you pretending for her? I wouldn't do that. I know. I mean... Enough. I know you want to ask about this stuff. You've got all these weapon and armor cases, all this machinery laid out all nice. If it was just laying around, I'd say I came up with 1,000,000 Victorian pounds or so. I bet you 2 big ones, that's Ursa stuff. I saw goods like this when I was smuggling around Lowell. This is brand spanking new. You've got the central core, but other units can't have had anything like this more than maybe 5 years? You think this makes any sense that Reunion could have just looted all this equipment? You mean the guys who go around swinging pipes? I don't think they'd even know how to grease it. What about the guerrillas? They're ex-Ursus army. How long did they desert ago? These big, heavily metal guys would sink if you pushed them into a lake. Even if they managed to bring some logistic units with them all those years ago, they'd probably all be dead by now. Think about it. With the stuff they're using now, it's a miracle they can keep their plates wiped clean. Let them get their hands on these weapons. I doubt they'd even know which end to point at the enemy. You're making them sound like a bunch of idiots. Ignorance and idiocy aren't the same thing. Logistics is skill as much as it's knowledge. The guerrillas aren't dumb, but the odds that they'll come across some infected logistic officers eager to run off with them are pretty slim. Saving an infected officer from execution, that's a tall order. Look, the serial number's been filed off. Sure, a deserter might do that, but you know who else might? You might do it if you were trying to trick somebody. It wasn't done very clean. Just looking at it, I can tell what kind of file they used. Looks like somebody was short on time. But the most important thing for now, we have to tell them, and quick, whether or not it's useful info. I just hope we're not too late. Captain, we have Captain, should we have Radial tell Amia's team? Or go report it directly? We should keep Reunion and the weird-looking guys busy back here. Got it. Wait. We've got bogies closing in on our position. Mantra, you on it? Just make them forget that what they're doing. No need to fabricate some orders to turn them into gibbering morons or whatever. Conserve your strength. If we run into Reunion, we'll need you to defuse the situation. Good. Be careful. Right. Okay. And it's good to send, Captain. Here. The Ursus army is in the core city.
So, the Ursus army is making their moves in the background. Oh boy. Right, we are now continuing up here on stage R8-7. It does not have a story, just a title and a description, which says Baptism by Tractor Fire. Within the Ursus army, the history of the artillery corps is not particularly lengthy. They are more than happy to arm themselves with the newest technology and have little concern to spare for who their enemies are. And then we move over to stage R8-8. So first off, we will go over the before story before the stage itself. Then I will go over the story and showcase stage. I will go and showcase the stage and well, pretty much just tell you how it is supposed to be done to get the extra cutscene. After that, we're gonna go over the after mission cutscene and then the extra one that unlocks from doing it. So, R8-8, the heart, fickle and impermanent. If you wish to prove yourself before a legend, you must first approach perfection. Only the commoners shall bleed. Only the noble shall face slander. So, before story. Hyushi. We have been heading south. The guerrillas are hoping to get to as many mines as possible before the extermination plan gets underway to save as many infected as we can. The garrison is falling back, and we are pushing further and further ahead. To outsiders, it probably looks like we are hunting down the Ursus squads. That couldn't be further from the truth, and it's a nigh impossible task. We are hiding from the Ursus army while also trying to save the infected from under their nose. If you ask me why we are doing this, I guess all I can tell you is, it's what we are supposed to do. That being said, I can't help but feel that by taking in all these infected, thus giving the other teams some breathing room, we may be playing into Mr. Patriot's hand. Patriot might have drawn a line that we dare not to cross. To cross that line is to fight the Ursus garrison head-on. A tall order, it goes without saying. It's either that or keeping ourselves under the radar. In other words, we'll have to leave the tundra and that means infiltrating the real Ursus territory, their nomadic cities, where all aspects of life are ruled with their iron fist. At that point, the guerrillas put their weapons away until it's time for us to take up arms again. The treatment of the infected in the cities and ships out in the wild are bound to be even more cruel. I imagine the days that are to come will be very difficult. It's not easy to take this step, but this is the northwestern tundra. There's nothing but snow here. We can't feed all these mouths with just snow.
November 3rd. Year X.
My brothers and sisters, are you okay? It's good to see you all in one piece. Man, was that battle not a disaster? Thank you, Yeti Squad. It's a pleasure to lead the fight with all of you. The pleasure is ours, Tallulah. Well, we all think it's very reassuring to fight alongside you. We make a good match. Now I can see why Frostnova trusted you to lead our squad. What's more, the way you use your arts is getting more ingenious by the day. Blasting flames through the cold air and detonating that? I don't think I could have come up with that one. Well, those weren't exactly flames. It's hard to explain, so I'll spare you the details. I'm sure Frostnova can rest easy knowing she doesn't have to look out for us all the time anymore. So, do you think we'll come across any more of these Ursus scum here? Well, this is one of the cities Ursus was planning on dismantling 3 years ago. The troops here managed to take over the city, probably thanks to corruption or some equally dirty work. As for the original residents, probably either enslaved or driven out. They didn't stand a chance against us, at the very least. They aren't as weak as you might as you're making them out to be. Just relatively speaking, compared to the regular Ursus army at least, it's not like Patriot has let you fight any battles that difficult. No, he hasn't. It's true, he didn't think we could handle it, but I think we are more than up to the task now, with how well we're getting on. I'm not so sure about that. The real Ursus army is on a whole other level. This detachment lacks discipline and training. I'm guessing they might not even be technically organized. And we just barely had a leg up over these guys because of our tactical planning. So you're saying we've got nothing to celebrate? No, far from it. We have all the resources we need to survive now. We really need these supplies. Without them, we won't make it through the winter. Besides, the nomadic city may be old and run down, maybe even too small, but it's big enough for us. None of us have ever been on a nomadic city before.
Tallulah.
What's the matter? You're one of the infected from the Earcurl village, if my memory serves me correctly.
We've got a pretty big team ourselves. At the very least, we're no smaller than your guerrillas.
Well, you're almost there. I'm not exactly part of the guerrilla force.
We still definitely had more men in this fight than you.
So, what do you want from me?
Let's go our own ways here, Tallulah.
You serious?
We've fought plenty of battles with your people, and we've taken the shirt off our backs for you way more than I can count. You can take half of the resources in the city. Hell, take more than that. Just let us keep the city. With the city, we could go anywhere. We could be anywhere in the tundra. The patrol unit and the Ursus troops will never find us.
So you are saying you don't want to fight anymore?
We'll die. We're all a little... The enemy, they're getting stronger and stronger.
These people aren't even on the same level as any of the contingents that Patriot's guerrilla squads have faced.
But we can't do it. Tallulah, you aren't going to deny us even this, are you?
Okay, what are you people talking about now?
The Yeti. Cold-hearted monster wouldn't understand. Death means nothing to you, not like the rest of us.
You...
Tallulah waves Petrova down.
Tallulah? We'll get the supplies out right away. The city is yours to keep.
That's good to hear.
But I won't stand for any insult to our fighters. Apologize to the Yetis right now.
Sorry. That will do, right?
Petrova, gather your men. We need to itemize the supplies. Also, turn on the Ursus comms terminal we captured. You don't mean... They know Patriot's guerrilla squad isn't around.
Where are you going?
Mr. Patriot, we were just about to rendezvous with you.
You handed the core, you handed the city to those folks.
Looks like you got my message already.
What these people are doing is nothing short of betrayal. Your permission has given them the justification they wanted. You destroyed the order here.
The moment they asked to be let go, I wasn't going to be able to keep them.
Those who lack conviction and willpower shouldn't wage war. Not now, not never.
If we go by your logic, no one was born with the right to set foot on the battlefield in the first place.
Discipline is everything. Kill them and take the city back. You owe your team and your people this.
So that they know the infected will kill a bunch of helpless people with their backs against the wall and grease the wheels with their blood, all for a rundown city.
They have contravened our discipline.
None ever fought for discipline to begin with.
It has been 4 years since we first met. In all this time, not once have I given you an order. I either tolerated your presence there on the battlefield or refused to work with you. I really can't know if you have matured or gone soft in that time.
All because I don't agree with you.
Summon the rest of the infected and tell them they're betrayed the manifesto. Have them executed immediately. You must make an example of their transgression.
I can't do that.
I can see you are hesitating. You are hesitating because they too are infected. Is it because you think this is dishonorable? You loathe killing and you don't care for power. That's not a bad thing. But then you need someone to do the dirty work for you.
I'll let you know when I'm afraid of doing this, and I don't dare to claim I have the moral high ground over anyone either.
In that case, the guerrillas and I will get it done. If you refuse to take up arms against them, the guerrillas will clean up the mess. What is that expression? You can't possibly think I am the honest and noble man everyone makes me out to be. Someone like that would have been dead long before the fighting even began. What's honorable besides reigning victorious and safeguarding the fruits of victory? Triumphing over the enemies you loathe in battle is by its very nature an honor, but that does not mean I take pride in my sacrifice. If a decision leads to victory and fewer dead comrades, then that's the right decision to make.
The city is already on its last legs. It's only been in service for much longer than it was intended. It's not going to last another 3 years. Both you and I know that they are doomed to be stranded in the tundra. They'll still have to find a way out in the end. But with the city, they bought themselves a tiny bit of hope, even if it's just for those 3 years. I'm not going to crush that hope of theirs.
You are fine seeing your team get torn into two.
No, I already told you, they were never on the same team as us to begin with. I'm not going to give you the weak cannot go to battle excuse you've been giving me. All I'm saying is, not everyone thinks the same way we do. We'll have many more join our ranks, but not all of them are working towards the same goal as we are. We're just borrowing their strength. We aren't exploiting it. If we force them to do our bidding, we would only be making them work against their own goals. And that's how you get them to actually start doubting each other and feel alienated.
All for the sake of unit purity, is it?
If that's what you want to call it, I'm not sure I'd describe it like that though.
If nothing else, I can tell you are righteous. You are a righteous person. There's a unit stationed nearby, guarding the trade route, and they're much better trained. You know things are bound to go wrong.
I don't want to admit it, but you're right. They just might do that, so we'll prepare for that. The Yetis intercepted the message already. You're right. The nomadic city sent out a message. They tipped off the Ursus troops in the area, our location. They want to draw the Ursus army's attention to us. No one wanted this battle to happen.
Their foolishness will slowly lead them to destruction.
And this is where we go into the battle stage. So, for this battle stage, we obviously have a Tallulah on the field that will do her own thing. The stage itself looks like this, and the whole goal is to get Tallulah from this spawn point right here through all of these positions back into this red gate here. The problem is, well, you'll see it once we start. And out of the two stages that I'm showing today, this will be a high level team stage, just because I wanted to have a stable team for this showcase. Unlike the previous team I had for this was a bit wonky. But yeah, this will be the team. It will do its thing. The next stage will be with a slightly lower level team. But yeah, essentially, as you can see, Tallulah spawns down here, steps onto the red field, gets a debuff buff. Essentially, she becomes stronger. But she will also slowly die without being hit at all. So the whole goal here is to very quickly let her go through. Because to get access to the extra scene that is linked to this stage, Tallulah needs to be at a certain percentage with health. The enemies, however, will be spawning in pretty much at a predetermined pace, so you technically do not have to worry about, as you can see, you don't have to worry about that Tallulah is at any given point triggering the enemies. But yeah. You can get her off the map very quickly, essentially. You obviously still have to deal with every single enemy unit that spawns, because as you can clearly tell, that there are multiple blue gates across the entire map, and as units are spawning in these little individual sections, when they are done just standing there still, they will go into the same gate they spawn close to. So you can, if you ignore them, you will pretty much lose immediately. But yeah, the most difficult part about this map, I would say, is the drones that spawn in the middle. It's probably the most difficult section here, because those drones do a shit ton of damage, but you can obviously always bait them. For example, Gravel does a fantastic job to tank at least two of the shells. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So now we will proceed into the after story of the stage, and then into the extra scene that just unlocked. So, let's continue.
Take account of the dead and wounded. It's just as you said, they used us as bait. And a battle ensued. Are you disappointed, Tallulah?
No. They had their reasons for doing this, and I also know exactly what they were. Knowing they had a legitimate reason, I couldn't possibly have gotten my hopes up.
The informant must be executed.
And how should we pick out this traitor out of all the people that wanted to flee the battlefield?
They betrayed their brothers in arms of peace. If you make excuses for them, you're only putting your warriors in harm's way.
No, they never swore their loyalty to us in the first place. You want every last person on your team to be absolutely perfect? That's impossible. You won't find a squad like that anywhere.
But the guerrillas...
The guerrilla fighters aren't perfect either. There are only a handful of people as perfect as you're making them out to be. Everyone else has their own reasons to be here, and only because they are willing to pay the price. But that doesn't mean they've thought it all through.
Stand down, soldier. Don't try to argue with her.
It takes a lot more work to build a city than to destroy one, mister. Just let them stay. If there's more than one way for the infected to survive, I'd rather see all of those ways work out.
Tallulah, you can't always try to go about everything without making sacrifices.
Sacrifices? Is that even up to me to decide?
All of us are prepared for the worst. You can't win without spilling blood. Heading south will lead to war. I know it, and I am sure you know it too. The Empire isn't going to sit by and watch the infected unite and grow into a major force. If everything goes the way you pitched it and the infected actually manage to take their fate into their own hands, then this war is inevitable.
You're right. We need to first let the infected understand that their lives have meaning. They don't have an obligation to face anything that comes after that.
You want the guerrillas to fight this war? Tallulah, are you willing for a war to break out between Ursus and another country? One that you can profit from? Or are you trying to sow the seeds of that war yourself? You don't want to give me an answer. You should know that any victory you can hope to achieve will bring with it disastrous results.
You're probably right. But that doesn't mean I'm going to sacrifice any lives.
Are you prepared to bear the tremendous pain to come?
Not at all. Things are bound to be painful after all.
Do you expect everyone to be so kind-hearted?
I simply have faith that the people of Ursus weren't born selfish and cruel.
Perhaps you'll come face to face with the real evil one day.
I've already crossed paths with my old friend a few times.
I sure hope so.
If a soldier swears loyalty to his fellow men, only to later betray them for their own profit, I will personally write up his charges. But if the group of infected we are dealing with aren't fighting for the same cause as us, what gives us the right to annihilate them? It doesn't make them our enemies.
Tallulah.
Please, go on.
There are a lot of people whom respected, not for their strength, but for their honesty. I can only hope you are one of them.
I will keep that in mind. Petrova, where's Frostnova at right now? She's still at the mountain pass. She said she's holding the fort until we finish capturing the city. Let's rendezvous with them. I need to apologize to her personally.
So, is that it, Captain? There should still be at least 3 garrisons around. We need to take down every last one of them before we can get the supplies out. All things considered, she made the right decision. The nomadic city doesn't have that much longer of a walk ahead of it.
Oh, Tallulah? Are you in a bad mood, Tallulah? Nope, fine. Anno, Sasha? Do you still want me to use your real names? Why do you ask? It's better to have a name that we can use to protect ourselves when we are so far away from home. Sometimes, if we don't pick a name for ourselves, we will only ever be called the names others give us. But you haven't ever given yourself another name. That's only because I don't want to. Why? You were just saying we should use different names. Because I want to be the same person both inside and out. I want to become someone whose actions represent her beliefs. So then your current actions are different from your words. Sasha! You're right. That's very likely. That's why I insist on using my name. It's just that a name doesn't really have much meaning to everyone else. After all, who am I isn't important to any of them. My name is only important to myself. So what should I call you then? When you put it like this, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to call you. Sasha, how about I put it this way then? I'm just a rebel, just a normal person. My name? That's not important. No one should remember my name. This name should become a symbol, and it shouldn't come to have any other kind of power. It's just my name, and it's nothing more than a name. If you want to call me by a name, you can just call me Tallulah for now. When you call me by my name, I'll turn around and look, but that's all there is to it. Tallulah. You can call me Tallulah too, Ino. It may be a little too early to tell you this, but I want to, Sasha. Go on. I want you to call me Tallulah because I want you to think of me as a friend. Good friends, like we're all peas in a pod. Even if I die, you will still remember my name, but not because I did anything special during my lifetime. I just want you to remember the time we spent together. I want you to remember you once had a friend called Tallulah. But you're killing bad guys. You're fighting them. The girl who fights shouldn't have a name. Everyone has their own fight. We are all fighters. Don't hang your head and just follow in the fighter's footsteps. Don't do that. Not everyone is like Patriot. All of us make mistakes. Look ahead of you and look at where he's going. You don't just keep your eyes shut and follow whoever has the more important sounding title. The names you remember are your friends' names. The names of the people you spend the most time with. If Frostnova, who gave you that extra spicy candy, but still gritted her teeth and smiled. It's your teacher who made you that weird vegetable stew. It's Patriot who will never give up on training you. They are all your friends, not fighters. As fighters, we don't have names. Tallulah, I don't get it. Well, I want you to trust me because I'm your friend, not because of my position. Just like all of my other friends.
Alright, and now we go to the first extra scene of this chapter. EG-1 Burned Fragment Number 1. A Matter of Honesty. Tallulah?
You rarely make that face, friend. What's wrong?
We've decided. We're going to stay here. Putting it another way, there are some of us willing to stay here and some are thinking about going out of Ursa's territory. But either way, none of us will be carrying on heading south with you. We're sorry.
Alright, I see.
You're not even going to ask for a reason. You're the one who taught us to... took us all this way up until today.
And does that mean you have to obey me, keep your life tied to your blade, fight Ursus to your last breath? Because it's never been like that. Never been, friend. You've got the cart and the beats mixed up.
I guess. That's like you, Tallulah. It really is.
I'm not your ruler, and you deserve to have this land in the first place, even if filled with corpses, turbulent with bad memories. The Tundra is, and it was, your homeland. You're all strong. I'm sure you'll find a way to prevail through it all. If you want, I can send you off.
No, don't really. You should know it wasn't exactly the firmest thing making this decision anyhow. Huh. Thinking about it, I used to be one of your people. I'll be telling my future companions plenty of stories about you.
Here's begging for your mercy then.
Tallulah, the campfire's up.
Alright, I'll be there in a moment. Friend, will tonight be our last meal together?
Just wait a bit longer. Some others will want to talk with you too, probably. All of them would. Tallulah? How do you guarantee that everyone who stands by your side works with you as one? How do you know betrayal or some other crap isn't headed your way? No, I guess you obviously have your ways. You're so smart, so strong to boot, and you know so much. A wound here on some bleeding, or some bleeding there, wouldn't slow your pace down, would it?
The praise is one thing, but could you not make me out to be so terrifying?
Don't get us wrong. One or two frustrations wouldn't make us lose our gall. We're no cowards. I just suddenly realized, actually, maybe not everyone thinks the same as you. Anyway, yeah. I mean, take me, I was gonna die anyway. I just chose to take along with you all so I'd be able to eat something. Live a few more days of my life. The moment I ate my fill, I realized there were actually plenty like me, and I figured it'd be nice if they could eat their fill too.
Strength, particularly in goodwill. There are qualities hard to come by.
Yep, hard for sure. So it's definitely not everyone who thinks that way. Who can guarantee we'll keep on moving? That we won't meet a crueler end? The old nobleman eliminating us all, implicating the innocent poor and all their children along the way? It doesn't really matter to me, but when I realize all the other ways it could go, it stresses me out. And not to mention that to some people, nothing else matters except their own fill. If the question is just feeding yourself, even I could come up with plenty of ideas, like selling out. Selling out what matters to us. Plenty of people are itching to destroy us, and they'd happily let some nobody infected off to dispatch the remaining rebels. Couldn't be more cost-effective if you tried. So I think, seeing that's how things are, we can't leave here now more than ever. Tallulah, we can't take every single person with us, can we? I have to concede that. That being the case, before we head all the way south and win all the goodness you talked about, what about the Tundra? What about the infected left behind on it? Not just the Tundra, really. The world's so vast, and to say it straight, some people are just thinking of taking the chance to leave this place. Finding like-minded folk elsewhere in hardship and distress, seeing if other places might have a niche in them for. Some people might look at it that way. You're seeing things this way honestly makes me really happy. Feels like the way would fly over my head, so I'm just gonna not ask. Circling back, doesn't
the fact we're leaving at such a critical point mean we'll be considered deserters. I don't really get all that too well, which is why I came to talk to you. Well, of course not. Be it Tallulah, the gorillas, so on, they're all names and nothing more. You carry what lies beneath your names. Your mindsets, spirits. You carry that sublime fire of resistance, scattering across this world's every part. For all this, where's the need to fault yourself? Alright. Frankly, I only sort of get it still. But with those words coming from you, Tallulah, that puts me at ease. Be at ease, really. Alright, I can't let the hunters' efforts go to waste. The knack you all have for laying out traps really opens my eyes. I'll miss the days I was able to eat like this. Tallulah will travel to every corner of this land. Hey, everyone over here, food's ready. Okay, and let's finish off today's session with stage M8-6, which is coincidentally the very first battle stage in the present timeline, I want to point out. But the title of this part is Farewell to Reunite Once More. It says here, and it's literally the only description, 7 hours, 29 minutes, 28 seconds. Though some friends may be willing to share your pain, you should perhaps reach out to them, and some may never have been your friends in the first place. So as usual, before we take a look at the stage, which is gonna be included, we first do the before story. So, blocking the way to the control tower. What the hell kind of reunion operative you are? Are you joining us, or are you trying to run away? If you want to fight us, that's your prerogative. But this is as disgraceful as it is pointless. Hold up, have you met the squad before? No, there's been a lot of new blood in Reunion ever since we left the Tundras. I haven't ever bothered to get to know any of them. I'm getting the kind of feeling they're not. Guard, watch out! The random Reunion member is signaling. Ursa's troops. Fall back, it's the Ursas. Not going to say a peep till the very end, huh? What, you think I'm some kind of traitor? You think we're despicable for turning our backs on Ursas for some lowly infected? We're fighting for their worthless lives, we're behind the times, and we've got no honor, so we should get our names taken off the register and erased from history. Maybe you have a husband or a wife, maybe you don't want to be here, but you still get sent by the higher-ups. You're just some puppet master's pawn, throwing away your life to do someone else's bidding. Pathetic. Pathetic, I tell you. Have you killed an Ursus man before? Was it the infected or regular citizen that you killed? When you got that blood on your hands, were you even afraid? Does that keep you up at night at all? All of you who stayed even after the Emperor died. Pathetic. Knock it off already, fall back. Careful, the Ursus troops are bearing reunions. No, guard. You mustn't say that. Why? The combatants on both sides will start doubting everyone around them if you say that. The more chaotic the situation is, the more of an advantage they'll have. If everything goes as Elysium planned, then the first thing we need to do is to stop everyone right here. We don't have much time left, and we have no idea when Reunion will come barging their way to the control tower. It'll only get harder to organize an attack once that happens. Not all of us need to fight this battle. We're up against Tallulah. A small, disorganized squad isn't going to do us any good. I'll go.
Fall back! Fall back! Watch out for the pile driver spears. Find cover.
Amiya, not again. You're Rhode Island's leader. I'm not going to tell you. That's all the more reason I should head in there. All I'll say is, if there's something I can do, and something needs to be done, then I'll do it, and I'll see it through.
And who's supposed to cover you?
I will. Shield guards, and that includes anyone who isn't injured. Let's do this. We'll hold the line here.
Feline.
They're rounding up all these specially infected and driving them out. So ruthless. They aren't showing even the tiniest bit of mercy. I'll crush their position and ambush point.
Well then. Feline, you're the first outsider ever to be backed up by both the Ursa shield guards and the guerrilla fighters. The young caster lifts her head up. She pays no heed to the commotions of the battlefield, as though it matters not the slightest to her. Her eyes gleam with resolve. Up until now, fear and regret have kept her chasing her endless flow of memories. But now, her promise with her friend, as well as the responsibility she shares with this embattlement of steel, has given her cause to finally stop and rise up.
No, I'm not an outsider. We're a team now. We'll stop this city together. That's why I'm not an outsider.
Shield guards! Shields up! So, what is this mission about? Well, for the enemy side, it's pretty much a lot of very mutated enemies. And for our side, we have a already pre-deployed Rosmontes on the field and 4 shield guards guarding the way. The whole point of this mission to unlock the extra cutscene is to keep every single one of these alive. And I'm gonna let this just play through, and you will see why this mission can be a pain in the ass. And also, if you've probably noticed, I did this mission with a very low rarity team outside of 2 operators plus an Amiya. Thorns and Surtur are literally the highest units I have in this mishmash. But yeah, as you can see, the shield guards are obviously very tanky. The thing that can shred the shield guards is the little assholes that have just appeared, plus a couple of other units that are way redder than the regular kind. They do very high damage. So in this case, we will have Surtur very well use her invincibility stuff to tank a lot of damage. And Shaw herself can also tank a bit of damage from the spear throwers because of her very high resistance. God, the shield guard always at the very front survived with so little HP every single time. But he lived, and that is pretty much
how this mission goes. So now we will finish off with the after story and then go over the extra scene that we get for doing it this way.
Rhode Island's medical technology is streets ahead of ours. I'll give you that.
Part of our plan is to send medical personnel to all infected settlements, but it's way too dangerous to send our normal medical operators into war zones.
I'm good, thanks. I'm much better now that I've been bandaged.
The enemies have retreated. The battlefield has grown in size. I can't use my arts anymore. I can't track them down.
You can count on the devils on the team to get that done for you. They're very good at that. Thank you, Rhode Island soldiers. Without your bravery, the number of casualties would have been much higher. I also heard you saying just now, Kautus, you were trying to make it to the control tower by yourself.
Yeah, but also probably not.
What does that even mean?
I will probably be the only one there when I face Tallulah. A warrior from Lungmen might also be there, but I am just going to assume there won't be anyone else right now.
How do you plan on killing her by yourself? You are nothing like the captain.
Sure, but neither is anyone else here. The more people we have there, the bigger of a mess things are going to be if a fight breaks out. Besides, Tallulah is much better than Patriot at quickly bringing the battlefield under control with her arts. I'll bring a squad inside with me. There are bound to be other threats in the control tower.
Are you sure you're bringing enough?
I trust the people on my team. Each and every one of them can be counted on, and they know how to adjust to all kinds of situations. If we end up somewhere we can't handle ourselves, we will ask for your help.
Are you trying to keep us out of the final showdown?
No, it's not that I'm trying to take charge of the battle. It's just that, sir, there are other battles that only you, the guerrillas, can handle.
You want us to stop anyone from getting inside?
Exactly. Amiya, you don't want me to go with you? It's safer for you to stay outside the control tower. You don't want me to fight with you? We'll take on Tallulah together. Resmontis, Tallulah's arts are filled with energy. You're really good at dealing with all kinds of physical attacks that come your way, but I'm worried about her flames. But she killed Ace. She killed so many people who mattered so much to me. Why can't I go? If I'm not good at dealing with that, what should I do? What can I do? There were lots of other things I wasn't good at too. You hate Tallulah. What else am I supposed to do? Is it bad if I hate her? Rosmantis, I don't have the answer to those questions. I'm not saying you can't hate someone you've never met. I don't have that right. But, Rosmantis, before I go, I'll leave you with an order. An order? That's right. Orders have to be followed. kal'tsit told me. Elite operators follow orders. Yeah. Logos told me before we left. Patriot rarely sees anyone as his nemesis. He prefers calling people by symbols or any characteristics or equipment they have, and doesn't usually call by name or race. But he called you a feline just now. That might mean he approves of you. But he calls you that too. He called you a Kautus. And what is it about me he liked? Is it how scary I look to others? I don't want people to see me like that. But you know how often we're called monsters? People have been calling Patriot a monster for so many years. It's true that the arts we possess are really scary. But he thinks of us as people. He thinks of us as humans. Not equals. We're both scary and things that other people hate. No, that's not right. Just look at all the guerrilla fighters here. Then there's the reunion fighters following the other leaders, and of course, our own people. Your good deeds earn their respect. On the other hand, bad deeds earn their hate and mistrust. We are judged by our actions, just like how our teammates look out for you. Just like how the shield guards defend Patriot, and just how we trust Dr. kal'tsit's word without question. Rosmantis, here's my order for you. Live, and make sure as many survive this as possible. And in order to do that, you can't come after me even if I don't make it myself. Amiya, but you're my friend. I couldn't let you go in there all by yourself. No means no. Rosmantis, I promise you this. I promise I will come back alive. So that's why, no matter what anybody says, no matter what they say happened to me, we both need to do whatever it takes to fulfill our mission. We have to survive this, both of us. And this order goes for everyone who's here right now. You must live. The whole point of the Chernobog rescue mission was to save lives. The whole point of the core city infiltration was to save lives too. Don't ever say things like there are causes worth giving your life for. Never say that. Life is precious, and more importantly, your life belongs to yourself. No one, absolutely no one, can let their life go to waste for us. There is no such thing as necessary sacrifices. To say otherwise is just wrong. Guard?
Yeah, I'm listening, Amiya. Leader of Rhode Island.
This goes for reunion too.
Call us.
Go ahead.
Just leave this place to us. Feline, let's go. Let's give the little rabbit the battlefield she wants.
Amiya, you have to do this. Okay, I will see this through. Yeah, thanks. Amiya squad, follow me. Everyone, we'll meet again. Alive.
Goodbye. We'll see you later.
Okay, let's do our job here.
Well then, the guerrillas will take care of this one. This place is a little too cozy to be your battlefield. Come, let's turn these blocks into a war zone. Rhode Island, let's go.
Yeah.
And now, back to another Shen flashback. Go over this for me again, Superintendent Shen.
Also, just want to interject here for just one moment. I don't know if I said this before. I think I did say it in one episode. It feels so weird to me to do this this impression of Wei and Wu now, considering I heard that bastard's voice now in the anime. And that voice is ringing in my head now, and it's fighting to be that one, but I stuck so far with this voice. I'm gonna keep this voice going for this narration. I do not care, that will not change. Anyway.
Am I not being clear enough?
No, you're clear as day. So perfectly clear that I thought I misheard. Superintendent Shen, you should know this is outside your purview.
Laws are different from one country to another, but common sense applies everywhere.
What did the Royal Guard Academy teach you anyway? Did they ever tell you to keep your feet on the ground and not bite off more than you can chew?
I graduated long ago. Now I'm a police officer serving Lungmen. I'll repeat again, so listen up. My wish is to join the LGD, and from there, I'll join the Special Inspection Unit. I will protect the city, and I'll clean this place up. There won't be another incident like that.
What incident?
Well, aren't you forgetful? Or are you just playing dumb on purpose?
Watch your mouth, Officer Shen.
My apologies, Chief Wei. Sir, I am referring to the incident that took place roughly 10 years ago when the city was infiltrated by foreign forces. Several Lungmen citizens were kidnapped, and they are yet to be found. I will continue to push the city to investigate and locate the kidnapped citizens after my admission to the department.
Shen, you have no idea what you are talking about.
Sir, I am perfectly aware what I'm talking about.
I won't argue. How about us then? As long as you don't think you can keep it up, just let me know. Tell me, Superintendent Shen, how long do you want to be in the department?
I didn't give him an answer. For all these years, I've always wondered, just how much longer can I do this? How much longer do I want to do this? And it wasn't until now that I finally realized the answer isn't for me to decide. The Shishao has gotten pretty rusty in my hand lately. I wonder, just when will I finally understand? Shadowblast doesn't mean to chase after shadows or let go. Instead, it's to never look back. A sword, ere shadows trace, cast off as cast.
Alright, and let's round it up with the EG-2 Burn Fragment number 2. A matter of protection. Slice, pierce, cleave, sweep. The blades flutter in lockstep with the enemy. Wail, rage, curse, howl, and then all tends towards the serene. Rosemontes' expression holds not the slightest change.
Dealt with. There's no front or ambush position left. We can continue forward.
You do a pretty job, Feline. Settled it without any of us even taking a scratch. And you skewered their heads real fast, real precise, no hesitation. That's good form. If only we didn't know you killed the captain, I'd probably ask you to join us. You're a natural-born warrior. Shame you're with the Katas. Damn shame.
You can't say bad things about Amiya.
No, I'm not criticizing her now. I've been waiting to hear the things she said long ago, things I heard before. She's great, Feline, a true great one. But this won't get you anywhere, Feline. It won't get you anywhere.
I don't believe you. Amiya will be able to do it.
Maybe, but you, with her, it's no good for either of you.
Why?
You're two kinds of people.
What two kinds of people? Me and Amiya get along really well. She's taught me a lot of things.
You'll figure it out in time.
You're doing this on purpose. I don't want to know. What you just said, I could join you?
You can. We welcome anyone. As long as you feel the infected's fate is unfair, as long as Ursus gets you burning mad, as long as you want to fight. You can join us then. You thought our team only had Ursus in it? Thought it only kept this country's people? Think again, Feline.
You're a feline too.
Born in Rimbiliton, went with my parents to Ursus, and settled down afterwards, in this frigid place. I liked picking fights ever since I was... I liked picking fights ever since I was young. Decided to join the army later because of it. Ursus's assessment for joining the army are pretty harsh on felines, but I still passed. And after, I joined the captain's unit and went with him, fighting campaigns far and wide. That was 10 years. Wars following wars and always a war after that. That's Ursus. I used to feel proud of this country, kid. Countless among us used to feel proud of this country.
So, why?
Because my parents got a ripafy, got kicked out of the city, and died in the wilderness. And I only learned about it half a year after they had kicked the bucket. Countless among us have gone through something similar. I heard you went through something similar too, kid. But it's not just that. If it was just that, just the one misfortune I ever happened across, I might even be able to understand it. But that's not how it is. War used to be the only thing that existed inside my head, and the only thing I ever reckoned to accomplish. I started reflecting, thinking some things over, and only then did I started figuring something out about this country. Trying to understand this country I used to struggle for. In the capital... If the captain weren't there, I'd have probably long been court-martialed for making disrespectful remarks at HQ. After that, I went to the northern plains with the captain. And the rest is history. In all of this, I've learned endurance, learned rage, learned hatred.
Amiya told me not to learn these.
You learn them one way or another, kid. If you can't use them, chances are they'll swallow you up.
So, was Patriot your family then?
We fought together for 20 years. He was my best brother, my closest brother in arms, and the one I most respected. He was, kid. But I've still gotta say, you're all the more suited to join us.
Then would Amiya be able to join you?
The Dakotas? Nope, she wouldn't work. She can't join us.
Then I won't join you.
I told you, you killed the captain. There's no way you'd be able to join.
I don't care.
But personally speaking, you need to pay a bit more attention to her. She wants to protect you, but she'll probably die faster than you will.
Why are you that sure?
Because we've met someone like her before. The shield guard looks like he's thinking back to something. He pays no more attention to Rismontes, puts on his helmet once again, and walks off to his comrades in arms.
And there we have it. A very cute little moment between Rosmontes and one of the shield bros. And we have even got to see what the person below the helmet actually looks like. And yes, of course the army of Ursus wouldn't have just Ursus people in it. Even though, like he said, the regime they have to go through to be accepted into the army, if they are not from Ursus, well, it's a bit tough on other races that are not as buff as the people of Ursus. But this will be it for today's narration. Next time we will, just as a little sneak peek, we will finish up this section entirely. So obviously I don't know at this point when I'm recording this episode how long the scenes are. I remember some of them being long, some extremely short, but we will finish off this section. And as you can see, if you've never played or seen how this chapter looks like, well, we're about to hit the point of the past and the present colliding. And oh boy, will it be an episode next time, I can tell you that much. If you cannot see the red flags, Whew, you're the lucky one. But anyway, this will be it, like I said, for this episode. I thank you all for listening and watching. This has already been a long recording. And I hope you have a fantastic day wherever you are. And I will see you in the next episode. Until then, bye-bye.